mess with benefits, you're probably voted out. But here's another reality. This is just a fact. In a decade, the Social Security Trust Fund will be insolvent, meaning if nothing changes, benefits will drop. Now, a group of 170-plus Republicans from a group known as the Republican Study Committee has put forth a proposed budget that would, quote, make modest adjustments to the retirement age for future retirees to account for increases in life expectancy. The RSC budget does not cut or delay retirement benefits for any senior in or near retirement. Joining us now, member of that caucus, the Congresswoman from Florida, Laurel Lee. Congresswoman, thanks for being back with us here on the Hill. You know this is politically charged. You also know that Social Security is not going to be there in a decade as we know it. So why go the route that you went now? And tell us what you think needs to happen, Congresswoman.
Well, I think we need to get serious about having a bipartisan conversation about these types of entitlement benefits. As you point out, we already know the current system cannot continue into the future. It will become insolvent. President Biden has proposed no solution for this, instead ignoring the problem. I think the best thing that we can do as Congress is get together, work across the aisle, and have an open and real conversation about what we can do to ensure that these programs are here, not just today, but for us and for our children in years to come. And that should include all options need to be on the table. Yeah.
But this isn't just specific to President Biden, and you know that. Donald Trump was the president before him. Nothing done on that front. In fact, he went after Nikki Haley in the primary, saying, quote, Americans were promised a secure retirement. Nikki Haley plan ends that. That was an ad. You know this, Congresswoman. Donald Trump, what do you want to hear from him if he's the next president of the United States? Because he hasn't taken a swing at this.
I do think that Congress needs to be working with our president and that it will require presidential leadership and input for us to craft these kinds of solutions. The other things that we need to be really taking a hard look at are, number one, our healthcare system overall. How can we be using better systems, more innovation, things that lead to good quality care, outcomes that are just as good but lower costs? And we've seen some great successes there with things like telehealth and focusing on prevention and not just treating disease. We also, I know as a former prosecutor, I'm a big believer in finding fraud, waste, and abuse wherever we can, and there's a lot of it. So that's another place that if our systems are working, we can identify and reduce the overall cost of providing these kinds of benefits. But you're right, I personally believe that a great starting place would be to have a bipartisan commission that works and studies these issues, that works across the aisle, that helps find solutions for the American people alongside and hand in hand with our president, because that's what it's going to take to get any sort of real and lasting reform.
And to be fair, on the other side of the aisle, as I've been pressing you about Donald Trump, here was the current president, Joe Biden, about your budget. Quote, the Republican Study Committee budget shows what Republicans value. This extreme budget will cut Medicare, Social Security, and the Affordable Care Act. How do you get an actual adult conversation when you have both leaders of both parties talking like this, whether it's in campaign ads or through statements?
Well, and that statement is just simply false. And that is the problem. For as long as we keep politicizing this issue, instead of working together to really try to find solutions, we'll be shortchanging the American people, because they need us to work through this and be honest with them about the situation, that it's not sustainable in its present form. So the best thing that we can do is stop trying to politicize the problem, talk openly and honestly about it, and work on things like quality of care, increasing efficiencies, reducing fraud and abuse. Well, I think that's something that needs careful and thoughtful consideration. I think there's much more to consider when it comes to these programs and how we make them long and lasting. I know that we want to make sure that anyone who's a senior now gets the benefits that they've worked for and earned, and that we need to make sure that we come up with a plan that takes care of our people, but also is built to last.
All right, Congresswoman, we got to leave it there, and we thank you for being back on here on the Hill. Thank you very much, Congresswoman Laurel Lee from Florida. We'll talk soon. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.